So, we shall continue with the nuclear and particle physics, and we can be discussing fission reactors, thermal and breeder reactors, energy release in fission, and something about fusion, and what is the source of stellar energy. Already we have been discussing about fission. Now we will just recall that diagram again, so that we will be able to continue with our discussion. This is the experimental curve, binding energy curve, binding energy per nucleon, and this is for the mass number variation. This is the experimental curve. Here we find that intermediate mass nuclides have got maximum binding energy, and very light nuclei have got lower energy, and very heavy nuclei have got lower energy. Therefore, fission is a process where the heavy nucleus splits up and the resulting nuclides will be intermediate, so that the binding energy will increase. So, it is a natural process. Similarly, fusion, light nuclei will fuse together to form a bigger nucleus, and thereby the binding energy increases. So, the system goes so that the binding energy will be increasing. So, that is the background which we already discussed. Now, we will just briefly go about it. So, fission is a process where a nucleus splits into two approximately equal fragments. So, splitting of heavy nucleus into two fragments. One fragment will be uranium splitting into barium and krypton. We are not given the isotopes, but generally barium and krypton, and it can be samarium and xenon. So, there are various possibilities. Here we are just spelling out so that to talk about the binding energy. So, here the uranium will be in this region, mass number. So, the binding energy will be lower, binding energy per nucleon will be lower, whereas this barium and krypton will be in this region. So, the binding energy per nucleon will be larger. Therefore, in this process the binding energy has increased. Now, here we have got types of fission. If we take uranium, uranium is the naturally occurring element which has got maximum number of proton, that is uranium 92, Z is 92. After uranium, all are artificially produced elements. So, the uranium has got a very unstable element, among the naturally occurring elements most unstable, and all the same it can sometimes it cannot undergo fission spontaneously, because it is a critical energy. And two types of fission we talk about. One is spontaneous, that is by itself occurring without any extra energy given to that. The other one is induced fission. For example, you have to induce using neutron or X-ray. Generally it is called photofission, neutron fission, neutron induced fission, or photofission, where we use gamma ray or X-ray, etc. Now, when you say spontaneous, all elements after uranium are very unstable, and therefore they will undergo fission spontaneously by itself. That is why they do not occur in nature. For example, fermium 100, Z equal to 100, or much more 101, we have got elements 101, 102. Those things those elements do not require any induced energy to undergo fission. They will undergo fission spontaneously, whereas uranium is the critical stage where we have to induce something, some energy has to be induced in order to make it undergo fission. And so, that is what we call as critical energy, the energy required to initiate fission in a process. So, if we take for very light nuclei, like example if we take calcium, 2040 calcium, or even if you take barium, krypton, those are by fragments of a fission process. So, they are stable. So, when they are stable, if you want to split up that, for example barium, you need to have a very large energy required, that is critical energy is the energy required to initiate fission in a nucleus. So, that energy required will be large naturally, because they are stable. If we take heavy nuclei, as we saw in the binding energy curve, for heavy nuclei the binding energy per nucleon is small, therefore, it is already unstable, Therefore, a small energy is enough to make it undergo fission. This is EC for heavy nuclei is small. Now, if you take transuranic elements, that is after uranium, they are not naturally occurring elements. They are produced artificially and they will immediately undergo fission. They will spontaneously undergo fission. So, they are called super heavy elements. After uranium, Z equal to 92 is uranium. After uranium, we call it as transuranic elements. They are called super heavy elements. There, it undergoes fission spontaneously. Therefore, EC equal to 0. That is the spontaneous fission. It occurs spontaneously. Therefore, there is no energy required to initiate fission. So, EC equal to 0. Now, there is one condition. This expression can be, or this inequality can be remembered. Z squared by A is greater than or equal to 48 is the condition for spontaneous fission. Any element with Z squared by A greater than 48 will not occur in nature, because they will undergo fission spontaneously. So, all naturally occurring elements will have Z squared by A less than or equal to 48, and if we take uranium 92 235, if we take, we have to just take 92. So, Z squared is 92 squared by 235. If you just calculate, you will find that it is equal to 36, which is smaller than 48. Therefore, it is available in nature. If we take some other element like 102 or 103, that super heavy element, there if you multiply and see and mass number, it will be greater than 48, and such an element will not exist in nature, because it will undergo fission spontaneously. Now, for a fission reactor, one has to choose Z squared by A as large as possible. Only then this EC will be small. If we take for calcium 2040, what is Z squared by A? Calcium 2040. So, it is 20 squared by 40, 20 squared by 40. So, 400 by, so what we will get is 10, 400 by 40, which is 10, which is much smaller than 48. Therefore, it becomes more stable. So, this condition Z squared by A can be said as it is a condition for spontaneous fission, or as Z squared by A becomes smaller and smaller, the nucleus will become more and more stable, and therefore, unsuitable for a reactor or unsuitable for a fission process it will be. So, for a reactor we have to choose large Z squared by A. As we said, in nature uranium has got the maximum number Z equal to 92, that is available in nature. After that 93, those things have to be artificially produced. Now, there is no point in producing something artificially and then making undergo fission. So, we have to take only what is available in nature and that which is very suitable, that which has got Z squared by a large quantity. Now, if we take natural uranium, it has got only two isotopes, uranium 235 and uranium 238 with Z equal to 92 both cases. Now, the 235 is only 0.7% and it requires slow neutron, that is neutrons with the energy eV. They are called thermal neutrons or slow neutrons. And uranium 238 has got 99.3% in nature, and that requires fast neutron. When you say fast neutron, the energy will be in MeV, that is 10 power 6 eV. So, large energy is required to make it undergo fission. So, this is the process. Now, why do you have for 235 slow and for 238 fast? So, if you take this uranium 235 has got odd number of neutron, because this is odd number of neutron. 235, 92 is the atomic number, 235 is the mass number, 235 minus 92 is going to be an odd number. So, that odd number, it has got odd number of neutron. Here in this case, if we take 238 is the mass number, 92 will be the atomic number, 238 minus 92 will be an even number, it has got even. So, this one uranium 235 has got, that is Z and N, that is proton and neutron, odd even or even odd, whereas for 238 is even. When it is even, coupling will be better, like as we have for even atomic cases. Helium is a stable element because it has got it's a closed shell. So only even number will be a closed shell. So here this will be even number, therefore it will be coupled to a greater extent, coupling will be there, therefore it is stable, therefore it requires fast neutron to make it dismantle it. Whereas if we take 235, it has got one odd neutron, therefore it is not properly coupled, therefore less coupled, and therefore we get easily dismantleable, therefore we get slow neutron to make it undergo fission. This is the, so you can remember odd number slow neutron, even number it is fast neutron. Now now we will just go to the U235 process. If we take U235 plus slow neutron, already we said it is slow neutron, it requires slow neutron. So if we take uranium 92 235 plus slow neutron, it gives Sr plus Xe. So this is one set of fragments and it gives 2 neutrons. So you just check up the atomic number, this is 92, this is 38, 54, and this is also 92. So the atomic number is same, and you take the mass number, this is 235, and here it has got one slow neutron, 2 plus 1, therefore it will become 236, mass number will be 236. Here 95 plus this one, so we will get plus 2 neutron, we will get 234 plus 2 neutron, 236. So this is the process, it is emitting 2 neutron. So this is not the only fission set of fragments, we have got another set also, krypton plus barium. So krypton, that is what we just as an example we gave. So the krypton and we get barium. So here it is 36 and 56 atomic number, and we get 92 there, and here 93 and 140, and here we get 233. Therefore here we get 3 neutrons emitted in this case. Now there are different processes. So the experimentally they found out when 235 is bombarded with slow neutron, what are the number of neutrons emitted in per fission. Some gave 2, some gave 3. On an average it is 2.5. So we can, for any further design, if you suppose you want to design a reactor, we should know how many neutrons will be emitted. So it is 2.5 neutrons on an average. Now that is, we have just said about this slow neutron, and we just go to 238 now. See, if you suppose here 238, I have to put fast neutron. So I am just putting 92 238 plus fast neutron. This gives, what happens is, this fast neutron gets embedded, it becomes 239. It is a compound nucleus, already we discussed in the nuclear reactions, it forms a compound nucleus. This neutron gets embedded as 239, and this 239 emits a beta particle. Say this 92 becomes 93. So it emits a beta particle, that is a beta minus particle. Beta minus particle, mass number remains the same, it emits a beta minus particle, and thereby it becomes neptunium, and this neptunium again emits a beta minus particle and becomes plutonium. Plutonium 239, we get plutonium. So what we get here is, see, we get 238, and once it is fast neutron is bombarded, we get plutonium 239. This plutonium 239 is also fissionable. We can make it undergo fission, plutonium, because we said here the Z squared by A, it will be still more larger, Z squared by A, and therefore this will be more fertile for possible, there is a more greater possibility for undergoing fission. This is again a fuel, is a fuel for fission reactor. That is why we call it as a breeder reactor. See, this fast neutron, it is able to breed a fuel. Now here if you see this one 238, it is breeding a 239. See, this is 238, already I asked you to remember, when it is even number fast neutron. it is breeding 239, this is an odd number. Therefore, this will require slow neutron. Uranium 238 requires fast neutron. The byproduct that we get, the fuel that we got is 239, which will require slow neutron. Just remember, we will come back to this. Similarly, if we take uranium 90 232 and here you take thorium 90 232 and you bombard with fast neutron, we get thorium 90 233. So, as we get here uranium fast neutron, we get the particle embedded and we get uranium, again same uranium with 239. So, here we get thorium 232 plus fast neutron becomes thorium 233, and this 233 it will emit one beta minus particle and some element we get with 91, and that again emits beta particle and we get the element 92. So, 90 becomes 91 becomes 92. This is 92 233. 233, this is uranium. This is also is a very good fuel for fission reactor. So, here again this is odd number, this is also odd number. Therefore, these two are with slow neutron, they can undergo fission. Now, I will just come back to this. See, in a breeder reactor we have got uranium 238 is used, and in a thermal reactor uranium 235 is used, 235. So, when you use uranium 235, that is called thermal reactor. For example, in Kudankulam we have got thermal reactor, and if you use 238, that is called breeder reactor. It's called fast breeder reactor, which we got in Kalpakam, IGCAR Kalpakam, we have got in fast breeder reactor. So, this breeder reactor breeds fuel. This fuel can be used in a thermal reactor. Similarly, thorium is called a thorium inverter or thorium converter or thorium reactor. So, here thorium is used and we get fast neutron, this uranium. This uranium can be used in a thermal reactor. So, there are two things, this is used in breeder reactor and this byproduct is used in a thermal reactor. So, this is in breeder reactor and the byproduct is used in thermal reactor. Now, what is the energy release in fission? So, the energy release EF, we can call it as EF, the amount of energy which is released, EF, that is change in binding energy. So, the energy change in binding energy is causing the energy release. What is change in binding energy per nucleon? So, when you go back to the diagram, already we have binding energy curve, we already discussed that the binding energy for the fragments is larger, it is about 8.5, and the binding energy for the parent nucleus, that is the heavy nucleus, it is 7.6 smaller. So, for example, this is the binding energy of barium and krypton, binding energy per nucleon for barium and krypton. This is binding energy per nucleon of uranium. So, there is change in binding energy. What is the change in binding energy per nucleon? It is 0.9. So, what is change in binding energy? So, I have to take this A the other side. So, the change in binding energy will be 0.9 into the mass number A, and 0.9 into mass number is 236. We take it as 236 because we for example, we took 235 as the nucleus and it becomes 236 plus, because one neutron, we are sending one neutron, 236, add up the neutron 236, and when that undergoes fission we get energy releases 212, this into this is 212 MeV. So, this is a rough estimate. So, generally what we get is energy release in a fission process is about 200 MeV, because different fragments are there, like as we said, barium and krypton and other products. So, based on that it will have either about 200, in this particular case is 212. The EF can also be calculated from Coulomb energy of fragments. See, what happens is actually the uranium undergoes fission. So, the uranium splits into barium and krypton, two elements. Now, when they are touching, it will have maximum potential energy, that is Coulomb energy, and that with that energy they will separate. When they separate, they will be converted to kinetic energy. So, the Coulomb energy will be converted to kinetic energy. So, that Coulomb energy also you can calculate, then also we will be able to get the same value. Like what will be the Coulomb energy? Coulomb energy we can calculate for barium and krypton. You have to take just barium as Z1, the krypton as Z2. Then we have got the Coulomb energy expression, general expression, Coulomb energy expression E equal to, I can write as Z1 Z2 E squared by 4 pi epsilon 0 R, the distance between the two. So, that is a general calculation only. Now, here the fragments, most of the fragments have got mass around 95 and 140. That is when uranium is splitting up, the masses of the fragments are about 95 and 140, which are stable compared to uranium. Therefore, the process becomes energetically possible. Now, as we said about the fission reactors, we have just gave a background. Now, we will go into a little more detail. In fission reactor, for example, if you take uranium 235, so just to back up again to recall, natural uranium has got only 235 and 238, 235 and 238. In a breeder reactor, we got 233. That is not naturally occurring, that is only a byproduct of breeder reaction. So, we get 235 and 238. 235 plus slow neutron, that is the energy required, where is slow neutron, which will be the energy EV, that is what we require. Now, 238 requires fast neutron, that is the energy MeV. Therefore, in general, wind up this way for us to remember, when Zn, that is atomic number and neutron number, when Zn is equal to even, the nucleus will require first neutron to undergo fission. If Zn equal to even odd, it requires slow neutron to undergo fission. This is what we have as a general idea. Thermal reactors, when you say slow neutrons are also called thermal neutrons, because the energy is in the order of thermal energy, that is atmospheric energy, thermal energy. So, they are called thermal neutrons, slow neutron. So, the reactors which use nuclear reactors, fission reactors which use thermal neutrons are called thermal reactors, or which use slow neutrons are called thermal reactors. So, thermal reactors have moderators to slow down the neutron. So, in the fission process, in any fission process, the neutrons that come out are in MeV, they are always in MeV, and it has to be slowed down. Suppose I want to bombard uranium 235, it has to be slowed down. In order to slow down the neutrons, we use what is called moderator. So, a reactor will have a moderator to slow. What is a moderator? It is only a system, nuclei. For example, heavy water. So, the neutrons as they go enter the medium, they will get scattered, they will bombard and then get inelastically scattered, and the energy goes on decreasing. So, it will slow down, and as they enter the moderator is a system, is a nuclei, some maybe heavy water, we call it heavy water, or so there are other moderators also, some nuclei. So, we have got the uranium neutron source here, uranium is the target. Now, here the neutron that comes out is in MeV, but when it reaches the uranium, it has to go to EV. If it is a uranium 235, it has to go to EV. Therefore, the moderator should be a system where it will slow down from MeV to EV. As it slows down, then this uranium will be able to capture that, and reaction will take place. So, suppose you take a breeder reactor, as we said, the breeder reactor, what is a breeder reactor? This is uranium 238, and this requires fast neutron. So, there is no need for moderator. Take uranium, directly it eats the uranium 238, no intermediate medium. So, it will go and eat the MeV energy, and breeder reaction will take place. Breeder reaction, already we said about breeder reaction. Uranium 238 will become plutonium 239. So, breeder reaction. So, here breeder reactors have no moderator, there is no need for moderator, no moderator. So, thermal reactors will have moderator. One example of a moderator is heavy water. Heavy water is a moderator. What is heavy water? Ordinary water is H2O. Heavy water is D2O. D2O is heavy water. What is D? That D is deuteron. So that is another isotope of hydrogen. Hydrogen, one isotope is H11, the other one is H2, that is a proton number, neutron number will be 2, mass number will be 2. So it will have one neutron also. D2O is a heavy water and it is a moderator. So when the neutron is moving through the moderator, heavy water, it will get bombarded and it will slow down. So this is the general process. Now we can have a general idea about what is happening around us. IGCAR, that is Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, IGCAR in Kalpakkam, has FBTR, that is a breeder. What is this FBTR? Fast Breeder Test Reactor. Earlier it was called test reactor, some 30 years back it was called FBTR. Now the word test goes out because there was no more testing, now it is successfully operated. So it is called fast breeder reactor. So it is called breeder reactor. So here what it does, it breeds plutonium 239, it breeds uranium 233 which are not available in nature. So they are able to breed the fuel. That fuel can be used in a thermal reactor. Now we will just go to this other reactor, this Kudankulam as a thermal reactor. Thermal reactor which uses uranium 235, and here it uses enriched uranium. So here I would like to say, even in the newspapers you would have studied, it is using enriched uranium. Kudankulam project is using enriched uranium. What is that enriched uranium? So already we stated that uranium has got 235, 238. In nature only 235, 238. Now suppose I am sending fast neutron in a breeder reactor. Fast neutron. What will happen is all the uranium 238 will get exhausted. All the uranium 238 will get exhausted. What will be remaining? 235. That is called enriched uranium. So the natural uranium will contain 235 and 238. But when the natural uranium is used in a breeder reactor, all 238 get exhausted and what is remaining is 235, that is enriched uranium, that is used in Kudankulam thermal reactor. Now what is neutron multiplication? Multiplies in geometric progression. Already we said for each fission 2.5 neutrons. In one fission it is 2 neutron, another fission 3 neutron. This each neutron as it comes, that will go and hit 3 other nucleus, and that is again hitting 3 other nuclei, that is again hitting 3 other nuclei. Therefore it will go, that is called geometric progression. One neutron is sent, undergoes fission, 3 neutrons are produced, each one is producing hitting 3 nuclei, and 3 fission occurs, and after that again it's 3, so it goes on multiplying. So it is called geometric progression. That is called multiplication factor. What is multiplication factor? Number of neutron in one generation by number of neutron in the previous generation. That is called multiplication factor. That must be maintained. K, if it is less than 1, it becomes subcritical. The energy will go down. Energy will go down and the reactor will not run. If K is greater than 1, supercritical, the number of neutron will go on increasing and it will end up in blasting of the reactor. So in an atom bomb, such a thing is happening, supercritical. So what we need to have in a reactor is K equal to 1, critical. That is what we would have already seen in newspapers about the Kudankulam project. Reactor it is attaining criticality. So they will attain criticality after some time. Reactor will generate power after attaining criticality. So only after that they will start the system. So here we have got something called prompt neutrons, which are emitted by during fission, and delayed neutrons are the neutrons emitted after some time. They are emitted by the fragment, for example barium and krypton. Suppose that fragment is emitting, they are called delayed neutrons. So we have just discussed the critical energy required for a fission reactor, EC. We have just discussed it and just outlined the thermal reactor, types of thermal reactor, breeder reactor and thermal reactor, and we will be posing a few questions for the day. So write down the condition for spontaneous fission. Write down the fission reaction using uranium with slow neutron, and state the number of neutrons emitted on an average, and show that the energy released in fission is about 200 MeV, which you can use Coulomb energy and you can calculate. Thank you.